What up, Keepers of the Flame? Okay, I just been called to do this video because it's too much. I did a Sagittarius reading. Had I not had that reading, I don't think I would have, I probably would have just been like, oh, that's interesting. So, last week, a couple times, it just been drawn to this particular subject. So, I'm not a mental health care professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just reading cards. I have my own experiences and I'm just speaking um about what I'm called. I don't want to, but I'm doing it. So with the Sagittarius reading, we kind of touched a little bit on being overwhelmed and inundated with circumstances and people, places, things that are just unfortunate, and how that can be really draining and exhausting and at times like defeating and whatnot when things don't work out, things don't come to accumulation. um, I've already touched on medical trauma, religious trauma, whatever else. So we're going to talk about a little bit why I touched on those things is because they can facilitate that mindset that like, oh, there's something really wrong with me, not there might be something wrong with the system. So that black and white thinking that we've kind of been raised in is being demonized by those communities, but at the same time, they're not really giving you any gray area to deal with. So it's weird and it's very destabilizing. So it can lead us to these thoughts that like, oh, there's something wrong with me. I can't be fixed. There's no fixing me. I'm just this weird thing that's just not fixable. And oftentimes that's not the case. So how do we approach that? It can be tricky because, when we're in a society where there's specific authority figures in this area, authority figures in this area, and authority figures in that area, and all these authority figures, and they're constantly telling you, if you just do it right, like we tell you, everything's going to be okay. And then you do it right, like how they tell you, and it's still not okay. And you start to kind of get the vibe that they have their baseline, and you do the thing, and then you're okay. And if you come back with anything else, you didn't do the thing. You didn't do the thing right. Well, then maybe you need to adjust your thing. All these different little mechanisms that nothing's really helping, right? And we can see that through the suicide and whatnot. Then we get people that are supposed to be pillars in the community of that particular area, telling people they can leave the planet whenever they see fit. Makes things difficult, doesn't it? Because we're under this impression, right, that these authority figures have our best interest at heart and that they're there to fix us and whatever else. And I'm in some cases that totally works out for some people. I'm not saying it doesn't. For some of us, it doesn't work out that way. And so many times we're told, well, if you just didn't do it right, you just didn't fill out the questionnaire the right way, you didn't this, that, and the other thing. It gets to be exhausting, right? And then, you're looking for reprieves here and there and whatever else, but you're outsourcing it. That's number one problem. You're outsourcing it. Don't outsource that. Never outsource your healing, ever, under any circumstances. Put out your little tentacles and like, okay, this helps, that helps, that helps, this helps, that helps, that helps, that helps, and that helps. And build your own foundation. I would not model anything off of one person or another or an ideology, anything like that. I would choose from multiple different sources because oftentimes these little boxes that society wants to put us in don't cover the whole person, right? Religion, politics, and what's the third one? Whatever the third one is. Religion, politics. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the third one is. There's three. Anyway. Oh, what's the third one that, you gotta pick teams, you gotta pick sides. Sports, there's multiple teams. But it's like this contract that you have with society that says, look, you have this way or you have that way. And when you go over to one side, you're like, this is gonna work. And you're like, this isn't working. So you go over to the other side and you're like, this is gonna work. And then it doesn't work. And you're like, what am I supposed to do? Oftentimes it'll give you the impression that there's just something wrong with you. No, you're a human being having a human experience with thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And just because the general consensus that you're being fed is that if you don't fit into these little slot lines that psychology has for you, that whatever system it is has for you, that there's something inherently wrong with you, not the system itself. Do you see how messy and terrible that can get for people? If you don't follow this exact list of things that we demand on this particular team, and it's, they've got lists on either side, and like they're like, I don't want to check off that box. That box is ooh. And then you go over there and you're like, that box is totally apt. I'm not ticking that box. And then you're like, well, I don't want a team then. So, because the system is not fitting you doesn't make you wrong. It means that there's something wrong with the system. Oftentimes in other countries, especially when there's that person who's depressed and sad, they don't look the person in the face and say like, well, you need to change. You need to change. You need to change your thoughts. Your frequency, energy, and vibration is just effed. Why don't you work on that? They don't say that. They say, how can we help? What do you need us to do? How can we change your environment and the things going on around you so that you feel better? What would make you feel like you were helping and contributing to the community, which is auto relief for depression and addiction? If we just function in society, if we have a place that we can call home in society, a lot of things alleviate themselves, including stress and depression and addiction and all that other good stuff. It's difficult, and with a lot of things being not in society anymore. Often the spirit's been ripped out of everything, religion included. Okay. I talk to people that are working for companies that they just have a system set up where it's just you beat the spirit out of everybody. Not on a physical level. You don't need to use physical force anymore. It's not necessary. The physical force is for, it's just a thing of the past. It just is. We don't need to whip and beat people anymore. We have psychological tactics that we use now. So it can be really debilitating. And I hear you and I understand you, and you are not alone in that whatsoever. I can tell you I'm not here to save you. I'm not a professional. Can't do it. I can tell you that you can totally do it. You can save yourself. Abso-freaking-lutely. You have that power. Abso-freaking-lutely. And if you're going through something, it's on purpose. And no, some scar-faced dude in the sky didn't decide that you should be punished. And no, you weren't begging for it, on your knees for it. You're going to learn something at the end of it. Pinky freaking swear. So no, it's not your fault. You didn't ask for it. You're here to learn something that you just need to learn it. And I can't give that to you. You have to decide whatever that is for yourself. You have to decide where the pain and trauma is coming from, why it's there, and what you're going to do with it. That's completely up to you. And yes, it can feel overwhelming and just exhausting and depleting. I don't deny that whatsoever. Nope. If I hadn't been there, done that on several different occasions, I would not have any confidence about making this video. So I am here telling you it can be done. Abso-freaking-lutely. From places you couldn't even freaking fathom, some of you. So it's not a matter of perfection or resources or people in your life. Anything like that. It's not a matter of any of that. It's all has to do with this right here. Okay? So it's a process, right? And so when we're in it, we just have to surrender and be in it. Does it hurt? Absolutely. Is it going to teach you something? Yep. Are you going to come out a freaking warrior? Absolutely. Absolutely. People like to take that word away and be like, you haven't seen battle. I would venture to say that the majority of the population has definitely seen battle in one way, shape, or form. The majority of the population. Okay? Not just a physical one, a mental one. So, an emotional, spiritual one. So, when we're talking about these things, addiction and escapism, which in excess will turn into suicidal ideation and all that other good gravy. So, oftentimes, this can be in the Jupiter realm of things. So 12th house, 9th house, Pisces, Sagittarius. If you have any of those things going on, look at where your Jupiter is. Look at where your Pisces and Sagittarius is. If you have a 12th or 9th house stellium, look at those things. And that'll really start to help you kind of break down exactly where your little niche is when it comes to those things that you could be more susceptible to. When it comes to addiction and or escapism, leading to whatchamacallit. What else did I? Christina Lopes, I posted a video that she just did not too long ago on suicide and what it means spiritually. So instead of covering that, I'll link that video below, along with a few other things to kind of start to get you back in your body and start to appreciate the little teeny tiny things that come into life. Because that's really where it starts. It starts with a little bit of, okay, I don't have a whole lot right now, but I know that I have access to something and that I can build off that something, whatever it is. And usually that something has to do with gratitude. Absolutely. Every time. Gratitude will change your attitude. Every time. Okay? Now, does that mean you lie to yourself about your circumstances? No. You allow yourself to have your circumstances. Oh, yes, because it's there to instruct you. It's there to be your teacher. We don't get to ignore those things. We don't get to surpass those things. We don't get to poo-poo those things and shove them under the rug like they never happened. They're crucial to our journey. They're part of climbing up the mountain. They're a crucial part of climbing up the mountain. Because how are we going to get to the top of the mountain and look down and have any compassion for the people that are still struggling at the bottom? We won't. If we didn't have to go through that, we wouldn't have any compassion or love or understanding for the people at the bottom. And we wouldn't have any insight as to what they actually need to be helped. what they actually need. Not what society is telling you to give them, but what they actually need. Which often is a dose of tough love. Saying, I can't help you. I can tell you this much. You can do it. Absolutely. Absolutely, you can do it. So, that being said, how much time? Okay, so let's get into it a little bit so I don't have to do a description, but face holes. This beautiful thing right here. Hold your face. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, mine's not perfect either, but I still love it. So what we put in it matters. Starting with this right here. So get your mind out of the gutter. I can hear you all the way over here. Knock it off. So food, that thing that sustains us. We eat way too much of it. We don't need it nearly as much as we're told we need. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, we gotta clean it up a little bit. Less processed, the better. So fresh fruit, fresh veggies, frozen. I buy a lot of frozen stuff. I have a freezer. So try to clean it up as much as you can, organic. And here's the thing. If you give your body the nutrients that it's asking you to give it, you're going to be less hungry. So if you're eating cheese puffs and Cheetos, your body's going to need way more of that stuff to sustain itself. Excuse me. Sorry, I just chugged a bunch of coconut water. So if you're busy like shoveling in the crap, excuse me, because it's cheaper, you're actually spending probably the exact same amount of money on food because you need more of the stuff that's not healthy or nutrients packed. So that way you're pretty much spending the exact same amount of money. I know it's a big con when you walk into the store. I get it. It's sticker shock. But I'm here telling you right now, if you look at yourself and say, I love and I respect my body and I care what I put in it, and you start putting some healthy things in, you're not going to have the cravings nearly as much. It's going to take a hot minute to get there. Absolutely. You go from Cheetos to carrots, you're going to be like, oh, I hear you. I had to do it. I had to do it myself. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not poo-pooing the pain that goes with it. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, it can be done. It can be done. It's just a choice. It's just a choice. Okay? And I get when you are down in the dumps, you're just like, give me my freaking grilled cheese and a goddamn freaking soup, tomatoes. Oh, I used to love Campbell's and now it tastes like fish. Who put fish in Campbell's tomato soup? Okay, anyway, so I get something else that's organic. Pacific, whatever the heck it's called. Anyway. And even that really doesn't do the trick for me anymore. I haven't had that in a long time. I've upgraded my comfort food. Oh God. I'm going to admit this. My comfort food I upgraded to it's way worse. It's so way worse. It's a peanut butter burger with provolone with peanut butter. And then usually they put jelly on it. Like, you know. Yeah, I know. I asked for no bacon, so back off. But that's like, we all have that weirdness, right? And there's no shame in that either. But I'm saying, like, what you put in your gut is going to get to here. Okay? It affects this directly. So again, I'm not going to be that person that gets on the pedestal and tells you, oh, you're not thinking correctly. Oh, you need to be vibing this way. That's not going to help. It's not. I can tell you that your face holes are important and you're making choices what you put in them. So starting with food and cleaning it up, that's a good way to go. Then we've got the eye holes. Second most important. Who does not love true crime? I mean, when you've had a bad day, you want to revert back to your childhood, which is, for me, Scooby-Doo and Nancy Drew. I mean, really. That being said, I'm not a John Grisham fan. Or whatever, what's that Peterson guy's name? Not Jordan. Do not read that man's tweets. That man should just be a walking trigger warning when it comes to tweets. Do not read Jordan Peterson's tweets. What else? Anyway, so you get into that mode, right? Because that's nostalgia. You're solving a crime when you're following these true crime things, right? That's why we love it. Okay, so then you get choices what to put in these. So like maybe watch a comedy special. Drew Lynch is a freaking epic dude. I posted about him yesterday. He's freaking hilarious. Love it. And then who else? I don't know. Pick your favorite comedian who doesn't like say too much stuff. Like I just watched a Ron White special, but I think he's hilarious. He's a bit much. Maybe not spiritual community, Sarah. See, I'm spiritual, but at the same time, I like my real life stuff too. I'm human. I want to be human too. So I try to keep that balanced. But what you put in that matters too. So maybe ask yourself, is this helping or hurting? Okay. And then make a choice for yourself. Then you've got the ears, right? What kind of music are you listening to? Is it good, upbeat music? Now, frequency, energy, vibration. Most music is not set to a good frequency. I will give you that. But how does it make you feel? Are you going to want to listen? You're going to want to listen to Sunshine and Rainbows when you're like livid at some sort of weird situation or person or whatever life event? Are you going to want to just be like, well, I'll just tune it out with a positive thing? Most of us don't operate that way. Most of us have to get it out of our system somehow. And a lot of times we do that through music. It's some of the best therapy I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. Yep, I am the crazy bitch who is your neighbor, blaring the music and dancing and singing like a crazy person. So be it. So freaking be it. Probably saved me a few jobs, possibly a few lives, that whole gig. So just be reasonable with it. Don't get too gung-ho with it, but release at the same time. It's a great release mechanism. Get into some Tool. It's hard, but it's enlightening at the same time. What else? Face holes. Nose is important. If you're in a stinky environment, you're not going to be in a happy mood. Clean up your environment. Go get some detergent that you like the smell of. Preferably something a little more natural, so it's nice on your skin too. This is your third kidney, darling. What you put on it matters. So something a little bit more natural, something that smells nice and that maybe like you put on your bedding and it soothes you. So like lavender is calming. Something that's not going extinct. Patchouli is a good calming one. Something for your clothes during the day is more citrusy smelling. That's going to uplift you. You can buy those little wool balls. They look like tennis balls. They probably are. And you can go get yourself some tennis balls if they don't smell. I don't know. I just used I saved my dryer sheets and I just put some. I'm weird. Don't look at me like that. I put whatever oil I want whatever's in the dryer to smell like. So I have like a little container of oils next to my dryer. And I'm like, I want this. And a little dab will do you. You don't need to use half the bottle. Little dab. Otherwise, you'll just, things get gooey and it's disgusting. And you're going to have to clean out your dryer, little vent thing, probably 3 to 6 months, every 3 to 6 months. Just like 2 drops on a little thing and you're good to go. What else? Oh, crystals. I know. John. My science is in. I like doing that. I like experimenting. There's a reason why people like crystals, because they work for some of us. If you don't believe it doesn't work, it's not going to work for you. So I wore a, where is it? I think I have this around here somewhere. I have, my daughter actually made it for me. Okay, I had it somewhere. I might have put it on something specific. But it's a little smoky quartz that my daughter put copper wire, twined it around, and probably within 2.5 to 3 months, I quit smoking and drinking. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to work for you. I'm just saying it worked for me. And again, I wasn't a heavy drinker to begin with anyway. Like, I was a social drinker. I'd have 1 or 2, and that'd be the end of it. Now, if I went to my girlfriend's house and I knew that I was staying the night, I'd have more than that. But I had some for Halloween, and I had some left over, so I had one on my birthday, and that was it. I didn't even have one for Christmas or New Year's. So it helps. It does. Definitely. What else? If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. But start with the face holes. What's going in? Okay. This is my grandma's gift to me when I was younger. It's been a lot of places. It's moved all over with me. It's really cool. I had my little rocks picked out and whatnot, and Grandma came up behind me and put this on the counter. And I can just imagine my eyes probably almost fell out of my sockets because it was huge. It looks small now, but like to my little 6-year-old eyeballs at this level, I was like, so yeah, I still have it. Amethyst, for those, yeah, can you tell that's purple? Amethyst in the shape of an arrowhead is it's heavy. Like, yeah, break a window with that puppy. So, you're gonna have to find something that speaks to you. Like, I have Tank. I have a lot of sounds on the table right now. The Complete Encyclopedia of Angels, which is backwards. But this is, it says angels, but it's spirit guides and ascended masters as well. Not just angels. There's Shakti, Neptune, Bacchus, Mary, Venus, Isis, Shiva, Kronos, White Fire Eagle. Good stuff. So just get into something that you're into, and then just unabashedly get into it. Oftentimes those things do help if you can start expressing yourself in a more honest way with your spirituality and what you're interested in. Animals, flowers, nature in general. What else? Earthing, barefoot. Barefoot really helps. For me, that was one of those things that was super important, and I didn't have that a lot when I got older. I was barefoot all the time when I was a little kid. Oh, I still hear my mother screaming my middle name out the back door. That I needed to put my shoes on. And I quickly ran away. So, earthing is good. Even if you're in a cold weather climate and you can't get outside and earth, don't beat yourself up. But you can get barefoot in your house. If you gotta wear slippers, do it. But 20 minutes a day, it helps. It really does help. Kind of acclimates the body. Helps also align the body. What else? You can get into oils too. Those will help with mood and whatnot. I mean, I don't overdo it. I don't recommend ingestion. If you do, I would go see a professional on that. I personally do not ingest anything but coconut oil and avocado oil, all that good gravy, but I'll leave that up to you. I would definitely talk to somebody before you venture in that area. What else? I'm gonna draw a card. Let's draw a card. Gifts of the Lonely Path. Boy, oh boy. Okay. Ready, set, grow. Are we gonna be able? I'm gonna have to. Yeah. I don't have my light on. I don't want to turn it on either. There will be times when the solitude feels blissful. The sensation of the air, the scent of the bud, the song of the bird, the wisdom of the trees, the knowledge of the steady earth beneath your feet. When you are so full of the song of the world, you become one with the rhapsody of life as your soul flows forth from the small space which it was once contained. What once was a void now has become a world overflowing with delight and discovery. What once was darkness has now filled with stars. These precious insights may never have been seen or felt or understood had you not been in the isolation for a time. There are gifts here on the lonely path. Receive them and make them yours. All right, keepers, I love you. You can do this. And until next time, keep your flame.